Good afternoon, this is Brad Dennis with BIS Commodities with a weekly wrap-up for the first week in April. First week in April, we saw Monday, we saw a quarterly stocks report come out. We were able to finally trade our quarterly hogs and pigs report as well. That was released a week ago, last Friday. And then today we saw unemployment figures for the past month. So a lot of things thrown at us and a lot of movement in the market. Let's touch on corn first. First of all, corn, we saw ending stocks lower than what was expected by about 100 million bushels. Still over 7 billion bushels, still the fourth largest in history for a quarterly stocks report there, but we're seeing that the lower prices, we're seeing upped demand. Now, whether that's double booking with some stuff that's going on because of the Black Sea, because of the Ukraine situation, we won't know that until down the road. But we're seeing good demand. Good demand from ethanol, good demand from the export market. Now, the other thing that we saw on Monday, too, was that they factored in lower acres going forward for corn, and that gave a bid to the December corn as well, and today we closed it well over $5. Now, what happened with this quarterly stocks report on Monday is it basically took our corn market, which was trading a 475, 495 range for the past month, broke us out of that range, brought in the investment money, and now we're trading at another range, call it in the maize, 490 to 515, a 25-cent range here. And what will determine whether or not we break out to the upside or the downside is going to be, once again, USDA report on Wednesday. With this increase on the board, we have seen basis drop, though. And something to really look at is take a look at that July DEES corn spread, old crop, new crop. We were out to 10, 11 cents on that last month. Today we traded a half a cent on it, almost taking out the total inversion. So with that front end coming back off, it's telling me that they're getting enough corn at this $5 level. It's telling me that logistics have finally loosened up, and we're starting to see a little bit more rail, a little bit more transportation problems alleviated, and that's bringing corn to where it needs to be. So with us trying to put in a carry then from old crop to new crop, you're going to want to probably look at the scaring or the weather issues to give you an opportunity to get in some good sales on the December corn. Once again, December corn is going to have lower acres. Right now, everybody's up in arms. I know it's April 4th, but they're up in arms about planting delays and everything. Absolutely, we're not going to be early this year. But are we going to be delayed? Remember last year, May 12th, I think we were under 20% planted. May 19th, a week later, we were over 70% planted. So guys have bigger machinery. They'll get it in when they need to. It's not like 10 years ago when everybody had an 8-row planter. So just kind of keep that in mind, and if everybody's speculating that the crop is going to be short, hey, utilize that as a marketing tool. Another thing that kind of weighed on corn this week was that we're still seeing corn and DDGs rejected from China due to the Syngenta trade. So with those rejections still going on, that's where that double booking could be coming in. You've got them trying to sell it out to maybe South Korea, Japan, something like that, whereas they've already bought corn with us. Well, they back out of the stuff with us because it's already over there. There's your double booking. So we kind of have to keep an eye on that. Also, with them rejecting more corn out there, makes you wonder if the government's going to raise our export sales at all come Wednesday. I know that we're at a very high percentage on a sales basis. On a shipped out basis, though, we're at a very low percentage. So sales on the book don't necessarily mean that we're shipping it over there. It's just the first step. So kind of keep an eye on that, and that might be enough to cause the government to not really up that that export data, meaning adding demand. So we might not have as low of stocks as one would think come Wednesday. The other side of the story too was ethanol taking a plunge. It was rumored there was a ship from Brazil with ethanol that was reaching the East Coast. The East Coast could not get ethanol from the Midwest due to logistical issues, so they went down, they got ethanol. Actually, the ethanol went to Brazil, and then it hit Guatemala where they took the water off and then could come in. Anyways, however it arrived there, we saw companies sourcing out the product from another country because it was cheaper. It's a global market, so they could go somewhere else. Keep that in mind when we talk about beans, which is up next. When you look at beans and you look at what happened on Monday with the ending stocks, well, we had about the exact same ending stocks as last year, just under a billion bushels. And, there wasn't much of a difference there. I was wrong. I thought that the market had factored in about 975. Obviously, they didn't because they ran with it. Yes, it did show tighter stock supply out there, but dig a little deeper and look at where domestic basis is compared to last year. Last year with these ending stocks, yeah, we did run to $16. This year with these ending stocks, we've got a lot looser basis. And I think that that's kind of keeping a little bit of a cap around that $15 area on those May beans. Technically, 1460 is very, very important. I know we've probed below it during regular trading sessions, but if we could get a close below that, then we start to see some of this fund money come out of the market. Yesterday, a good update in beans, good meal sales, and that propelled the market higher. Today we came back off of those in meal in the front end of beans. People debating whether or not that meal is actually going to come from the U.S. or come from somewhere down south. Think about that. If meal is 50, 60 bucks more expensive up here as compared to down south, well, I know what I'd be doing. I'd be selling you U.S. prices and sourcing it out of South America. The bigger companies can do that. So I think that that's a little of what's been going on, and with bean sales showing up on the positive as well yesterday. Yes, we sold some, but we really have to focus on the inspections now, what's actually leaving the U.S. And look at the spread between what's going on with U.S. beans and Brazilian beans. Brazilian beans are 50 under, U.S. Gulf beans are $1 over. So why would you pay $1.50 more to have U.S. beans than basically Brazilian beans? Whoever's the buyer is has to look at that. And for our own sake too, it's easier to source, or not easier, but it's economically feasible to source beans out of Brazil and bring into the U.S. because of our tighter supply. And that's what we're hearing. Now, there's a perception and there's a behind the scenes kind of talk. So the perception is a tight balance sheet and you see continued old sales. So that points to a higher market in the beans. Behind the scenes, we're hearing about different cargoes that are about to land on the East Coast, 25 to 30 possibly. Just don't have confirmation in it. So if that rumor does come to fruition, then we'll see this thing relax. We'll see the spreads relax a little bit as well. So from the bean side, this lower basis from last year, I think, isn't going to allow us to get as high as we were last year, with the possibility of us adding beans to the balance sheet via pretty substantial imports. So kind of keep an eye on that. Over in the wheat, we have dry areas out there, and people have taunted about that. But when you look at the higher stocks in the world numbers, it's allowed wheat to come off. There's been no hiccups in Ukraine's export business either. So With that, we've had wheat relax a little bit. Still do have to keep a close eye on what's happening with the weather, and down the road, forecasts bring rains into those parched areas, but you have to see them show up, or else you're going to do damage to the crop. And with the overall corn and bean market, everybody's looking at soil temps. Well, we're starting to warm up on that. Yeah, today we had a little bit of snow up north, and it's cold, but the forecast is showing that things will work their way out there. So if you want to make a weather or delayed planting issue right now, I'd give it another week before I went into that. Over in the cattle market, cattle have been not seeing any active bids this week. Last week we had in Iowa here, we had some 154 cash, and guys weren't going to sell cattle for anything less than 150, and we had a 49 bid that was being out there. And as of this 2:15 time frame, I haven't heard of any cash sales out there. I think packers are kind of sitting on their hands a little bit. They're watching futures come off today, and they're trying to get them a little bit cheaper. Now, why did futures come off? Well, cattle looked over at the hog market, which was run amok by some spec business, and that spec guy had to bail out today. Limit down through the front to October hogs, and a lot of it was because of rumors. Rumors out of South America, rumors out of China, that those guys were going to stop importing pork from the U.S. due to the PEDV. So we're seeing this PED virus rally up the market, all right, thinking that we're going to have, lower numbers. We did see lower numbers last Friday, numbers that were at 7-year lows, but not as low as what the trade was expecting. So it rallies it up, and then it shuts off the world to wanting our pork, and all of a sudden the market breaks back down. Now, we saw cutout values alone down about $4 yesterday. So there is a little bit of that pricing coming out of this, and that's definitely going to weigh on the cattle industry as well. Over in the equities, today was the big day. Non-farm payrolls came out at 192,000. People were expecting 200,000. Unemployment rate stayed at 6.7. People were expecting it to come down to 6.6. Not a big change out there. But what that does say is that we've got no policy changes out of the Fed. Fed's still going to pull back their bond buying. They're looking at 2015 to possibly raise interest rates. Let's say bond buying closes or ends in October, maybe wait 5-6 months, see how the economy is, and then start trickling up rates, which is actually very healthy for the economy down the road. It gives you an alternate. But anyways, that's what everybody's kind of looking at. You're going into a weekend having made new contract highs in the S&Ps. There's going to be profit taking, and that's what we're seeing right now. Last I checked, the SPUs were down about $25, and you're flirting with your 50-day moving average over there too. So we'll see if they can close under that 50-day moving average. Also, you want to kind of keep an eye on what the ECB said this week too. ECB is very, very worried about lowflation. They do not want to see, they want to see growth out there, and it's starting to stagnate again. And they have many tools that they can still use. They can use a lot of quantitative easing tools. Rates are low. They can take a couple more ticks out of that to go down to the zero rates that we have here. But both of those policies basically affect their currency and would devalue it to a certain extent. So from the commodity standpoint too, you want to kind of keep an eye on that dollar. We've come off of our lows, kind of stagnating up here, but policy shifts in Europe could definitely put a bid to our dollar, and thus making our commodities more expensive, and if our commodities become more expensive, we lose out on the business and such. So keep an eye on that going forward. To sum it up, corn, hey, we've got lower stocks on corn. Look at if we can spike something up here due to a weather scenario. I don't think that it'll be a long-lasting weather scenario, but a good opportunity to get some sales on the books. Bean-wise, just kind of seems like it's bubbling and about to break out there. So if you've got those old crop beans sitting around, you might want to take advantage of this $15 area and talk with your elevator a little bit. And if you feel like it's something you still want to be involved in the market, you can always go in there on the calls or buy them up, get long on the board one way or another. So that is it for this first week of April and a broadcast.